What's up guys, Americana back here with another video. Everyone's trying to call the Bitcoin bottom, but if we lose the $98,000 level, it is game over. That's the only level that matters right now, and everything else is just noise. So let's get into the video. Alright guys, I know I'm talking about the $98,000 level in this video. I have another video coming out this week strictly about why that level is important. I guess a better kind of intro for this video would be why I think a bottom could be forming, or basically going through everything that I'm seeing that points to a bottom being able to form in the area that we're at right now. Outside of that, if I'm wrong and we do have to dip lower, that's when I lean on that $98,000 level and the 50-week moving average, which we're going to discuss in other videos this week. This one's more centered on the idea that, hey, even though everybody's in pain, even though the last few weeks have sucked, we're kind of pointing to where we could be finding a bottom. And I think this video as well is more macro focused, but that will reveal itself as we get into it. So let's get into the video. All right, guys, first up, sentiment is in the gutter. 27 on the fear and greed index, lower than where we were when we actually had the flash crash last Friday now. If you want some confluence on this, go, especially on my TikTok, go look at my comment section. Holy crap. It's pretty eye-opening how people feel about the market currently. Same people who I think it's maybe not even 2 weeks ago when we were making a new all-time high were super massively euphoric. Obviously myself included in that. But I think it is just super eye-opening how fast things can flip on a dime, to the point where people are now talking, top was in December, and altcoin, no alt season, Bitcoin top is in, all these things flipping back and forth. So sentiment gives us a good idea how people are feeling. Obviously, when sentiment is low, that's when we can typically start to find bottoms. So confluence, number one, sentiment in the absolute gutter, while price is still ranging at all-time highs. Despite what people think, we're still ranging. The next thing is the Russell 2000 was able to close the weekly chart above its 2021 all-time high. I know you can probably barely even see it on the screen there, but a breakout is a breakout, okay? Getting above a key level is getting above a key level. We started the week really strong, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here. One of the only stock indexes that was green, especially on, I forgot the exact day, maybe Tuesday. And then kind of selling off later into the week. Friday, everything was green. Russell 2000 happened to be red, but with the strength in the other indexes, okay, like we showed, able to hold that high on the daily time frame. Some nice kind of vertical accumulation here. Do want to point out, this is the third time now we've gone for a breakout. 1, 2, 3. All right, we have yet to be able to confirm the following week after a breakout on the Russell 2000. So would love to see some follow through this week and some confirmation, or we are kind of right back in the same camp. All right, but as crappy as it might be, if this thing ranges for 6 months, I mean, I'm going to be saying the same thing for 6 months until we take out lows, until we break structure, until we roll over. I have to stay in the same camp. And like I said, we just got this weekly close above. One thing to note about this, and hopefully I can show you guys here. Perfect. The Russell 2000 on the actual session only price data. So what we were just looking at is the futures data. Okay. On the actual just session only prices, you can see the 21 high is right here. We've only been able to kind of get a breakout above one time, which we didn't confirm this week in here, just because you have futures open a little bit extra every single day over many years. You start getting a little bit different look at the chart. So we were not actually able to close above the 2021 high on the session only price chart. But if I come over here and I put these, this resistance level, resistance / potential future support on these candle body closes of the all-time high, you can see we actually did get some nice reaction and was able to close above it. So a little bit of nuance there. If you are in the private Discord, we're kind of looking at two different Bitcoin charts right now. We're looking at perpetual futures and regular spot price, kind of doing the same thing on the Russell 2000, and it is a little bit nuanced, but These bottoms are messy, right? Bottoms, when they come in, are messy. They're typically not super clear. So I'm just pointing out the confluences that we do have. One of them being, hey, Russell 2000 futures, right, was able to close above the all-time high. Is this the end all be all? I don't think so on its own. But if the session only just Russell index can break out this week and we can close above, get some confirmation, I would be very, very happy to see that. And I would probably be, screaming breakout at that point, especially if we got some green in the stock market and Bitcoin this week. All right, Bitcoin dominance. I had a video last week about this kind of throwback to the 62% level, 60% level, things like that. You can see starting to roll over some on the daily time frame, which could potentially be good for us. All right, in that same video, I mentioned how we probably do have to fill out some of this wick, which we've done a decent job. We're welcome to roll over, at any time on the daily time frame, but I really wouldn't get not worried, but I really wouldn't get excited to see some sort of, or what am I trying to say? Be predictive about some sort of drop. If we were up here and everybody was in pain and we were all screaming that Bitcoin dominance is reversing, I would be screaming that, hey, we are reversing, but it's back into a trend continuation. Welcome to roll over anytime, and you can see here losing some momentum on the daily time frame. The main thing is that even with really 3 good liquidations this month, we had two $2 billion liquidations in the same week. Then we had the massive $20 billion liquidation. Not able to flip any momentum on the monthly time frame, as we see down here. Once Bitcoin dominance has confirmed downtrend on a monthly time frame, we can expect that to continue on. We'll be talking about different stuff on the way down, potential reversals and things like that. But for now, dead cat bounce. It's not enough for me to come off my thesis, especially with Bitcoin actually holding range lows despite what people think and feel like currently. So I mentioned indexes, stock indexes. Market was relatively strong last week. We put up a pretty good week, being able to flip this level, or hold this level, I guess you would say, on the weekly time frame. Everything has held up nicely, and we've got good reactions, but I cannot overlook, right? I know it's supposed to be a bullish only kind of video, but I cannot overlook the fact that Dow Jones is within these retracement levels, right? And until those are cleared, I can't overlook the fact that we could get some sort of ABC down to lower levels, which would be below our 21 all-time high, which is something that we probably would not want to see. Not the 21 all-time high. This is just the all-time high from that's 21 back in December when crypto was topping out, as people would say. So definitely keep an eye on this if you're not looking at stock market stuff throughout the week. If you're not monitoring what's going on during those sessions, you are falling behind. And look for Bitcoin to at least flip, or not Bitcoin, Dow Jones to at least flip 46.7 is a pretty good level to start getting some strong idea that, hey, we were not actually getting this ABC correction. But without looking at that, just looking at levels and structure, so far we have held up nicely. That is going to make it a lot easier for Bitcoin to find a bottom. Now, all right, let's go look at Bitcoin's chart here. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I had to have mentioned it in a video at some point last week. But we were definitely talking in private Discord the second we got this massive wick on Bitcoin, right? That these things typically kind of do a slow bleed back into fib levels before a bottom is able to be found, right? We have seen this exact same setup, not only on Bitcoin, but Ethereum as well, bleeding back into the fibs. Ethereum able to hold key levels like this little low right here, right? And Bitcoin actually working on reclaiming this range. This is the perpetual futures chart. I mentioned too that we're kind of looking at two different things, right? But if we look at, sorry, I have this up for a different video, but if I look at, Bitcoin on its just spot price, right? This is Binance. We were actually able to reclaim the range on this candle and actually getting some nice confirmation today on a Sunday. Sunday's price action is never end all be all. Nice to see some reaction and a reclaim of a range. I think quietly we could be finding a bottom. Quietly. I pointed to that kind of slow bleed down into the fibs, and once we got that, I am on bottom alert, barring that $98,000 holds. This is a pretty tight range and window we're talking about between where I think we could be finding bottom in 105, 106. down to 100 where a lot of people think we're going to see sub 100, and then down to 98K where a lot of people kind of think, we could be heading. But again, if we do get there, right, I'm saying when it comes to Russell 2000, Bitcoin dominance, fear and greed, what we wanted to see on Bitcoin and Ethereum, we could potentially be finding a bottom anywhere in here. If they want to go sweep one lower, it's not the end all be all, right? We just need that reclaimed on the weekly time frame. Okay, we're going to be getting a lot different videos, right? If we do end up closing below on the weekly time frame of that 98K. But until then, we're seeing everything that we could and would want to see for potential bottoms, and I don't see really a reason to worry. Even if we get down to 98K, don't see a reason to worry. Even if we close below and have to sell everything or something like that, we're going to be getting out well before bear market actually sets in. So honestly, I'm pretty chill after even though this doesn't look like stabilizing to me, saw exactly what we wanted to see. Now, can we reclaim levels? We already reclaimed the range. Trying to confirm today, that would be awesome to see. And then can we, actually get some appreciation and start reclaiming things to the upside? If so, I think relatively quickly, people would realize, holy shit, bottom's in, and we would kind of be back on track as normal. Okay, again, same thing on Ethereum. But that's pretty much it for this video. Just looking at a few macro things shaking out, all while sentiment is in the dump, all while people think bear market is here and there's no possibility that we can find a bottom. Interesting to see things within the macro still holding up, and still showing us what we want to see. So for that, I hold on to faith, I hold on to hope in an area where Bitcoin could already be finding a bottom. So let's see what this week has to hold. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Sorry, quick outro here, but just wanted to let you guys know I appreciate y'all's support as always. If you guys don't know, right, a couple of weeks ago I did a live stream, something I'm going to try to be doing a little bit more often, right? No promises on there's not going to be a set schedule for now, but something that I do want to offer to you guys being on YouTube and taking in this long form content. I appreciate you guys sitting down and showing up and diving in. I know these are longer videos and things like that. So a little bit of a reward for you guys to kind of get some more hands-on one-on-one live stream. So definitely look out for that. If you guys can, continue to subscribe, comment, right? Those things go a long, long way. Any question that you guys would have is not a dumb question. And any question that, most questions outside of when moon and give me 3 altcoins to buy, I will typically try to get answered. I don't care about gatekeeping information or withholding things from you guys. So if you guys come up with a good question, I'll definitely get an answer back to you. And if you want to see certain topics, or if you have questions that you think might make a good video or something like that, I'm also down to make videos on it. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully, it is Sunday. You can't always believe that Sunday price action, but hopefully we can start this week strong, get back on track, and potentially we're already in an area where we find a bottom. Now it's just about, price showing us that it's there. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.